What's up, guys? I'm here to react to Nelk Boy's podcast with the Netanyahu. And of course, I'm going to give my feedback. I'm going to react to it as we are going. I watched it one time, and then there were so many things to talk about that. Some of them they were irrelevant, some of them they were important. So as we go forward, I will pause it and talk about that. But one thing is, it is obvious that it was already set up. It wasn't like Nelk said, "Oh, let's interview with Netanyahu for a couple of reasons. Not that it matters. I'm not even fan of the podcast. Not fan of any of them. They are not bringing value, any content in here. They just blew up with what they were doing. Good for them. But the thing is, like always, they were looking for the popularity, and see what gives them more impression. And of course, they were not that stupid to know that right now it is not a good idea to have interview with Netanyahu, who from very far left to very far right, everyone is against them. So it wasn't like they wanted to challenge themselves or something. It's not even their personality. And you're gonna see there is no pushback in the video, and everything they talk about that is just asking question to let him basically justify his action. So there's no pushback on anything. Not only that, they agree with him. So of course, probably Trump said, "Oh, I had interview with you guys. I let you blow up. Like all of the MAGA people came to you, subscribe you because you interviewed with me. I supported you guys. Now it is time to pay back." And it is so sad that the payback to Trump is to help prime minister of another country. Anyway, that's a different discussion for another day. But let's see. I pause it and then I react to it.
This is fucking nuts.
This is so crazy. We are so not qualified to do this. That's what's interesting about this. We're just not. We just should not be doing this.
Well, we're too far too gone.
Here we have the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. He's about to walk into the podcast right now. This is probably one of the most, if not the most controversial podcast we
For sure the most
have ever done.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe not the most controversial we'll ever do.
Maybe not.
But
maybe
is, I mean, this issue is just like, and by the way, I want to say too, I'm not claiming to be an expert on this issue or anything like that. I'm kind of just probably like a lot of you guys that, you read stuff online. And I feel like on the internet now too, it's like, you don't even know what's real anymore. Like you read shit and it's like, you see a headline, it's like, is this true? Is this not true? So I see so much stuff about, what's going on in Israel and, Iran and Palestine. And to be honest, I just really don't know what is going on there. So it's gonna be interesting to sit down with Prime Minister Netanyahu and kind of just ask him some questions about what we read online and
get educated.
Probably going to be a lot of hate in the comments and stuff like that. In my opinion, I mean, dude,
we're journalists, right?
We're technically journalists.
How can you pass up this opportunity at the end of the day?
No, and plus, at the end of the day, it's like we get the opportunity to sit down with one of the most powerful people in the world, a world leader.
Yeah.
And we get to ask him some stuff, and we're going to ask him what we want to ask him too. So if you guys, want to hear shit, whatever questions you guys want to hear, there's probably a ton of other interviews of him on CNN or like, typical news stuff. We're going to ask him what we want to ask him. So to me, this is crazy.
Exactly. This is what they are talking about. Like, we're going to ask them what we're going to ask them. And then when you see what type of question they are asking, it shows like already it's a setup. And then the fact like they already know that it's going to be controversial, and then they're going to get the pushback. It's so funny. So it shows like already they are trying to do the control damage.
Like how far we've come, and we're get to sit down with world leaders.
Yeah,
it's fucking insane. So.
Yeah, I mean, for any backlash, this is just an opportunity. Again, you can't really pass up. I don't see it. Like, there's no one else doing this.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I'll sit down with any world leader in the world.
I agree.
I mean, my dream guest is Kim Jong-un.
Both
Kim Jong-un, if you're watching this,
this is kind of like
to come to North Korea and interview you.
All I can think about is the interview.
I'm so down to pull up to Moscow and interview Putin too.
Yeah, we'll do everybody.
This is what sets off podcasts. You could put a small microphone here, but no, you have to see this thing, right?
Yeah. Prime Minister Netanyahu with us today. We're here in the Blair House, right? Is this the White House grounds?
Close.
Close.
It's the sort of the official guest house of the United States.
How have you seen like the White House and stuff? Like, how has it evolved over the years, over the times of you visiting it?
I've met quite a few of the American presidents because I've been in office pretty long time. Not because we don't have elections, but because I've won quite a few of them. Okay. I think there's never been a friend like Donald Trump in the White House for Israel. I think he's a remarkable leader. I think he's changing history. He said he'll make America great again. He's already done it. America is widely admired now around the world, and especially after our joint operation against this regime that wanted to, chance death to America, death to Israel. Well, I think together we've shown the world a different face of America. Very powerful, very directed, very resolute.
You guys are very tight, right? Would you call it a bromance?
Well, you might. I mean, we've known each other several decades, and I really like him.
What do you like most about him?
If you meet him close up, and Sarah and I have had this opportunity many times, including last night.
All right. One thing is, just look how weak and how rat he is. Like, before anything, he has to give so many compliments, and it's so sad. As a person who voted for Trump, actually, I voted for him because I thought he's the man, he's the lion, he's the strong. He doesn't get manipulated by a couple of compliments. But right now, when you are seeing like Netanyahu just say, "Oh, I have seen so many presidents. Well, Trump is the best one, the best," and I hope it's not true, but if that's the case, that by just giving a couple of compliments and back massage to Trump, now you are getting all those fundings, all those, like, Trump is doing everything against his promises, his campaign promises. And if you are getting all of them by just having your people around him in the White House and just by just giving him a couple of compliments and just like old people, like, like old grandpas, they're always like those grandchildren who give them more compliments. Like if one of their grandkids say, "Oh, grandpa, I love you. Your candy is always good. Like always you take me to the park, blah, blah, blah. You buy me this and that." And then whenever they ask him which of your grandchildren you like the most, I say, "Oh, I love all of them, but of course this one, I like it special." But when you go to the root, the cause of it, and you see only because that grandkid gave more compliment to that grandpa. So if Trump is just like one of those old farts, like as a person who voted for him, he's just getting manipulated, destroying the country only because of a couple of compliments that people like mosquitoes go around him and talk, just giving compliments. That is a shame on us that we elected this as a president. And really, I mean, if I was very quiet, I was just giving him benefit of doubt. I was just hoping like he's gonna steer wheel of the country, change it to the direction and part of his 4D chess. But man, there is no 4D chess. There is no plan to trust. Always they say trust the plan. There is no plan to trust. That's it. He comes, he gives, "Oh, I love you the most." Okay, give $4 billion, give all the money. Not only that, it gets even worse. He attacks his own supporters, not only supporters, those people who campaign for him, like Tucker Carlson, only because people like him and Mark Levin, they are saying, "Oh, we hate him." Like, how low you can go down, how cheap you can get, that those people, Netanyahu didn't get Trump elected, Tucker Carlson did. Mark Levin didn't get Trump elected, David Smith did. You know how many libertarians voted to Trump only because of David Smith? How many of those Republican or conservatives, they voted for Trump only because of Tucker Carlson? So those people who got you elected, and now you are backstabbing them to please those people who used to be never Trumper. Like, it does Trump have dementia to forget like what Netanyahu was doing to him? Netanyahu was very first global world leader who congratulated Biden. Every other country was waiting for the end of the results because Trump was not happy with the result. And then Netanyahu was the first one who said, "Thanks, congratulations, Joe Biden." And then how fast you forget that just because now he's giving compliment. And then who is this guy to tell us if America is great again or not? We are American citizens. We are to tell if we are happy with our direction or not. And of course, one of the lies, I mean, I have to count those lies, but it's going to be many, countless numbers of the lies he's going to say during this interview. What the biggest one is right now, he's saying, "Oh, now he's respected." No, actually, all the countries that are staying away from America because America is breaking his promises. Why do we break our promises? Only because of Israel. So we are not trustful for other countries. So no, we are not great and we are not respected. Actually, any country wants to ditch us. Let's continue.
And a great dinner we had at the White House. First of all, Donald Trump can be very funny.
Of course.
He can be very funny.
Especially off camera, right?
He can split you sort of sit there and you start guffawing because it's so funny. And also I'll tell you something else. That Sarah, who's a psychologist, and she, psychologists, You know, psychologists,
Of course.
they look at people,
Mm.
they identify very quickly with that. You know what she said to me about Donald Trump? She said he's a good person. He has a
Who cares about you and your wife, what she said? I actually, if your wife says he's a good person now, I am starting to have the second thought. Because your wife thought you were the good person who got married with you.
good heart. He wants to do good. And that is something that I think that you have to know him well to appreciate it. And the last thing I tell you about him, okay, I mean, I can tell you many things, but he cuts through the chase. You know, he cuts through the BS. You have to spell out what BS is. He cuts through the BS. He goes right to the point, to the heart of the matter. And sometimes he says things that get right to things that people don't want to really think through. And he cuts to the bone. And that is an amazing quality because it lets you focus on the things that are important. So it's been an incredible partnership, both personally, but also for our two nations.
Did you have any type of relationship with Biden?
Not the same. I've known Biden for, 40 years? Almost as long. Well, both of them. Over the decades, it was a different relationship. It was a friendship, but also it evolved into, how shall I say this? Severe disagreements.
Mm.
And with Donald Trump, we've had powerful agreements. And when there's no daylight between an American president and an Israeli prime minister, amazing things can happen.
Now, of course, there is no daylight because at night, Jeffrey Epstein and, Mossad thing, like you guys are very tied together, if you know what I mean, at night. So there is no daylight because it's always night. Jeffrey Epstein, no client list, no operation, no, what was that? He did a suicide, nobody killed him. And then he was an asset of anybody. Yeah. That's why. That's why there is no daylight because they're all corrupted. They're all going down to Israel.
Like our common enemies who chant death to Israel, death to America, and want to develop atomic bombs and the means to deliver them to this city and to every part of America. All of a sudden, they're not so intimidating. All of a sudden, we can defeat them. All of a sudden, you can use these brave American pilots who come from around the world, drop it right over the bunker, and help us end the amazing feats of our soldiers and pilots.
Oh, that was no blackmail. Actually, this is the biggest lie about the Jeffrey Epstein was that was no blackmail. How do you think all these American presidents are going down to Israel, even though they are doing something that ruined their campaign, ruined their base, but still they do it anyway, even though it doesn't benefit them? Why? Because they're black men. So when you say there's no daylight, because Jeffrey Epstein Island, all night, baby, all night.
That's an amazing thing. It's good for America. It's good for the security of every single American.
How do you feel about the Americans' opinion on Israel right now?
Well, look, I think the broad segments of the American public support Israel, but I'm concerned that the young people in America, some of them are getting the wrong picture of Israel, vilification, demonization. You can feed them a lot of lies. So the only way you can fight lies is with the truth. How do you fight lies? You tell the truth. And you have to tell
By truth, he means censorship.
it as often and as, intensely.
He fight the lie with the censorship. If you're gonna fight the lie with the truth, just tell the truth. So why are you running away? Just think about that. Tucker Carlson, when he had the trailer about his interview with Pezeshkian, president of Iran, he said we have attempted 5 times to Netanyahu's office to set up a time to have an interview with him, and every single time it got rejected and it got ignored, right? If you really are looking to defeat the lie with the truth, and your body is like Mark Levine thinks Tucker Carlson is a propagandist, is a Qatar's asset or whatever you are saying, then fight the lie with the truth and go there and speak the truth in front of Tucker Carlson and ruin him in his own platform. So why is it you're only having interview with 2 idiots, 2 retarded people like these 2 guys, and not talk with the serious people who are into politics? And that is the job. Like, you guys are attacking Tucker Carlson. Okay, that's the best time to go and have the interview with Tucker Carlson and defeat his lies with your truth. But you don't. You're looking for cancellation and censorship. This is what you have been doing for 500 years.
As the lies that are leveled against you. And that requires an effort. It's like another battlefield, you know? And I'm doing this podcast, among other things, to reach young people.
Of course.
You guys are pretty young. I mean,
30 years old.
30.
30.
That's young.
Yeah. What do you think the biggest misconceptions are about Israel?
Well, first of all, they don't know what kind of an open society it is, how pluralistic. I mean, we live in the heart of the Middle East, okay? Iran is not that far away. In Iran, they hang gays by cranes. In Israel, probably Tel Aviv is one of the, the most...
Listen, I'm just saying, I know that it is unpopular, but what do you think should be the punishment for the pedo, for the rapists, for the drug dealers, from sex traffickers? What do you think should be the punishment for? I'm just asking for that. I'm not saying that's a good thing or bad thing. I'm just saying you tell me. So he didn't say for what reason. He just said what they are doing, right? And actually, I agree with him at some point because I was born there. Like, I don't think nobody should be punished for drinking alcohol or not having hijab. It's something individual liberty. As an American, I believe like my belief shouldn't dictate your lifestyle. It's something individual. So I agree with him in that part, right? I give it to him. He says a couple of truths about Iran, which is unfortunate, that's true. But the fact, like, he doesn't say for which crime, like it's mass murderers. What do we have to do with them? Ask Americans, ask every average American. If the somebody who has killed like 20 women, do you think the punishment should be lifetime sentence or something like that, or something harsher? And then compare that answer of average American people with those punishments. Anyway.
Most open, liberal-minded city on earth. Israel is
We visited there, yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
completely different.
Our sister's gay too. He had a good time.
Well, you can vouch.
Yeah, no, we all
So,
agree.
you know, I mean, look at that. How about women? Okay, women in Iran, they shoot the women. They shot this extraordinarily brave and beautiful woman, shot on the sidewalk because she showed too much hair. In Israel, women are, you know what? Women, I'll tell you what the difference is. Okay, so I had this young women officer in my military secretariat. You know, the prime minister has military secretariat, and usually has a general and it has staff assistants. One of the staff assistants was this young woman pilot navigator on leave from the Air Force to do this work at the prime minister's office. You know what she did now? She was flying over the skies of Tehran, you know, attacking this horrible regime that tyrannizes the women in Tehran. That's the difference. The women there get shot on the sidewalk, and an Israeli woman pilot helps liberate Iran, quite the women of Iran. And boy, that's a big difference. And that's true of everything. It's true of nightlife. It's true of the startup nation, the incredible ingenuity and entrepreneurship, incredible freedom. Israel I would say, is a paragon of freedom in an area that doesn't exactly enjoy freedom. And to have young Americans march and support these mass rapists, these people who beheaded men, who burnt babies alive, I'm talking about the Hamas monsters, is that their ideal?
I don't know how many times it should be debunked and still they repeat those lies. Like, you know, it's kind of crazy. Like, doesn't matter how many times you debunk them, you provide evidence to show like always all of them they were propaganda, they were lies. Like, doesn't matter. They keep saying those lies because you have to believe them if you don't want to be called anti-Semite.
No, nothing. I mean, they don't know what they're talking about. And I want to bring that truth to them. So Israel is a great free society and the best partner that America has anywhere on earth.
Great people there for sure. When we visited, everyone was so welcoming, and people were inviting us over for dinner and stuff. But I see, like, that's the thing too. I'm not claiming to be an expert too, but I'll just read stuff on like X, and like people will say like Israel's killing babies or like they're starving people.
That's completely false. In fact, the reason.
Did you hear what he said? That's completely false. Like, basically he's saying 70,000 dead women and children is just false. It's not only he's lying, he's showing those lives don't matter to him. Because it's like, if you can ignore the fact that those many people died just like that, then everything is on the table.
The reason we have civilian casualties in Gaza is because Hamas, who are basically horrible murderers and killers, okay, committed to our destruction and your destruction. They say so openly. I mean, they say the big enemy, the real enemy, the great Satan is America. And Israel is the small Satan, but the small Satan that is standing.
Well, as a nationalist, patriot American, I'm saying, God bless America. I don't mind to say Israel is the little Satan. What the stuff he's saying about the Hamas, we all agree. Like, nobody's supporting Hamas. Nobody is like, yes. I don't mind even he goes after them. They go after you, you go after them. But the fact, like, your attack, it's so precise, your precision is so high. When you went after those generals of Iran, like IRGC generals, or you went after Hassan Nasrallah, all these people, you were so precise with all those advanced technology, again, thanks United States, that you got. But then when it comes to people in Gaza, you act like a child, you know, like when you give something to the kid, you are worried about how they want to use them, you have to control them. It is just like that. Like, they don't know how to shoot. They shoot everybody. Oh my God, I wanted to shoot this guy, but I shoot the other guy over there. And then when you see the differences, in one hand, you are so advanced and so good in attacking precisely, but on the other hand, you just mass shooting. And then you say, maybe that's part of your agenda. So, nope.
in the way of conquering with other Iranian proxies, conquering the Middle East, and then we move on to you. So America is the great Satan, and America, needs to disappear, and we stand in their way. But one of the things you have to understand is Gaza is the densest urban environment you can find, and Hamas embeds itself in the civilian population of Gaza, the Palestinians. Okay, we tell the Palestinians, hey, leave, because after they butchered us and raped our women and beheaded our men and bred our babies, we have to remove this threat. So we come in to take care of the Hamas terrorists, but the Hamas terrorists don't leave the civilian neighborhoods. And we say to the civilians, we call them up because we have their telephone numbers. We say, leave, please leave. We send them leaflets, millions of leaflets, please leave. We do everything that is possible that no army has done.
Why don't you leave? Why don't you leave? You're from Poland originally, and so many of those people in your cabinet are from East Europe, like Ukraine or Romania or all those Lithuania, all those countries in Eastern Europe. You are from Poland originally. You change your name. Why don't you leave? Why do they have to leave? You leave. Or maybe nobody leaves and you can have the two-state solutions and live peacefully, but you don't want that. You won't want that. You're stubborn. You say, no, I want them to leave. So you're acting like you are having mercy on them. Oh, I let you leave before I burn your house down to the ashes. Oh, thank you, sir. Oh, so merciful.
They want to leave. You know what Hamas does? They shoot them. You say, we want you to stay because we want to have civilian casualties, because then they can show it on CNN or all these other networks and so on and claim that Israel is deliberately doing this. We're not deliberately doing anything. We like them to leave. In fact, successively during the war, it's been now a year and a half, they finally do leave, most of them. So we've minimized those casualties, but it's not because we seek to have civilian casualties, it's because Hamas wants them. They're willing to sacrifice their own children, their own families, both because they don't really care for human life, but also because they think it's very good propaganda against us. And if they just let them leave the war zone, get to the safe parts, safe havens that we've created in Gaza, no one would be hurt. And the minute Hamas lays down its arms, surrenders, maybe we let them leave Gaza. That's the end of the war. No one gets hurt.
What would your message be to Palestinians that just want to have like a peaceful life?
Get rid of Hamas. Help us get rid of Hamas. They torment you. They oppress you. They shoot you in the back of the head. If you want to leave the war zone, they kill you. And if you say a word in protest, they'll kill you. If you're gay, you're in bad shape, really bad shape. And if you are a woman, you're chattel, you're nothing. You're property. That's the opposite of everything we believe in. I say it's not only Israel, it's you. So we're the same.
How do you respond to, like, I'd say there's a lot of American support from the females, from the gays towards Palestine. So how does that make any sense?
That's, gays for Gaza is like...
Just you see the pushback, the hard question, the challenging questions. Oh, what would you say about those idiots that who are saying something wrong about you? You know what? So that is the hardest challenge, hardest pushback they are giving. Or what do you think about those idiots that don't know you are right? Oh, God. They were irrelevant already, but even more than ever right now.
Chickens for KFC. That's insane. The whole thing's absurd. Chickens for KFC, right? Gays for Gaza, or women for the women of Gaza. What are you talking about? They're completely subjugated. They've got this death cult that is contaminated. So you can push this stuff on TikTok or whatever on this stuff, but you can't build.
He said gay for Gaza, chickens for KFC. Okay, let me add one to it. Morality for IDF.
Peace or security on the rocks. They'll crash. These things will crash on the rocks of Middle Eastern realities. You can only build peace on truth and reality, not on deliberate, falsified fantasy.
Why do they say Israel's like starving the people of Gaza?
Well, because we're trying to get the food in, and we let food trucks in, and guess what happens when we let them in? Hamas steals the food, takes the good chunk for itself, then sells at inflated prices. They jack up the prices, and then they sell the food to its population, to its hungry population.
Well, even if you want to lie, at least lie something that is more believable. So they are selling the food and selling to their own people, right? Is that true, right? So two things gonna happen. One of them, people gonna turn against the Hamas in Palestine. We are not seeing it's happening because they're saying they are giving us the food, but you are starving us. So, but we are not seeing that level of like disagreements or people rising up against the Hamas. So it's mostly unlikely. But the second one is like he's selling to people as if like people in Gaza, they are so rich, they have all the money in the world to just say, oh yeah, give me a triple price of that, I give it to them. They don't even have house to live. They don't even have water to drink. They don't even have car to drive. They don't have anything. Everything is leveled in Gaza. And where the F have they got all those money to buy the food for triple prices? You're just throwing some lies and you expect like everyone believes that because you said so. How can Gazan people can afford that? Yeah, if they got that food and sold it to Lebanon or Jordan or some other places, yeah, maybe. But selling back to their own people that they don't have anything left. With what money they could afford buying those foods for triple price? They don't have anything. Like you're acting like they are. You talk about Gaza as if it is a Monaco or something. Oh yeah, get my Ferrari. Oh, give me one can of food. Pathetic.
if they give them it all, and then use the money that they take from their own people to recruit more killers into their terror machine. That's what happens.
Why are more Palestinians not siding with Israel against Hamas then?
Well, up to now they've been terrorized, but guess what's happened? Since we're beating Hamas, all of a sudden we see Palestinians rising. You have to see this to believe this, okay? And they say to Hamas, hey, you're not coming into my building. You know, you can't use my school or this hospital as your command post. We're not letting it. And they start fighting them. Now we have actually armed conflict between Palestinians and terrorists. It was unimaginable a year and a half ago. But now there are Palestinians who rise up, and the more the better, because we can create a different future for Gaza. And we should also do something very simple that President Trump said, and it was brilliant. So that's my idea. That's how he cuts to the chase. He says, at the end of this war, the people of Gaza should have the choice. If they want to leave for other countries, they want freedom of choice. Why?
Oh, guess what? You have that freedom of choice too. You can go back to Poland. How about that?
Are they locked in? Hell, we're not locking them in. Anybody could leave, but Hamas is locking them in. Suppose they want to leave. They want to go to another country, okay? Why shouldn't they have the freedom of choice to do that? Because this is all upside down, The victim of this horrible terrorism is called the aggressor. The people who are oppressed by Hamas.
Hey, by the way, off topic. The thing he has on his, the tag he has on the pin on his jacket, is it like for the people who have AIDS or something?
Hamas are seen as supporting Hamas. Give them a choice. Give them freedom. Give them a life and give them a future. They can't have that with these Hamas stormtroopers. But the amazing thing is, I come here and I see these protests. The people who are protesting for Hamas and against Israel, they burn American flags. They not only burn the flag of Israel, they burn American flags. They're anti-American. They're not MAGA. They're not supporters. Who do they support? You know who they support? They support Iran and its proxy, Hamas or Hezbollah. What does Iran do? Just understand people who support Iran or speak on its behalf. Iran tried to assassinate President Trump, not once, but
It's already debunked. That is a lie. It wasn't proven. It was one of those Israeli lies. That was no proof, no evidence to show that. Even the Bear, what Bear was in Fox News when he claimed that, he said, "Do you have any evidence to support that claim?" He said, "Yeah. Somewhere, some intel told me." They haven't provided any evidence to show like Iran wanted to assassinate President Trump twice. None. I'm looking for it. I want to see it. Tucker Carlson was saying that, like, that it's proven that is a lie. But anyway, let him continue lying.
twice.
They were behind those assassination attempts?
Openly. By the way, they put out a price on his head. On mine too, by the way. Smaller price. I'm not offended.
They actually put a price on your head?
Yeah, 2 days ago.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah, it's smaller than his, naturally. He's the president of the United States, for God's sake, okay? So they put out a fatwa 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, by the official cleric of the Iranian regime that President Trump has to be assassinated, and that I have to be assassinated. And by the way, they targeted, Sarah, my wife was here, and they targeted our bedroom window. Yeah, we were supposed to be there. They hit through the proxy Hezbollah. They fired a drone right into our bedroom window. So
Just recently?
Yeah, it was a couple of months ago. Yeah.
Wow.
No, it was a year ago, actually. Yeah, a year ago. Okay. So how many months? 7 months ago. She counts, so they tried to assassinate President Trump twice. They've killed and injured thousands of Americans in Iraq and Afghanistan. They bombed American embassies. They murdered 241 Marines in Beirut. They chant death to America, death to Israel. They're out to get America. They're building atomic. They were.
A couple of lies. One of them is, if you go read enough already, if I'm not mistaken, the book that Scott Horton wrote, that Scott Horton is one of the best people that can give you all the information, all the knowledge you need to know about the Middle East, what happened, what's going on, and what is all the agenda behind all of that. So if you read the Scott Horton's book, he was showing like, yeah, all those American soldiers were killed by Shia militias. They were Iraqi Shia militia, and they had nothing to do with Iranian regime. And the only similarity between them, they were both Shia. And then they were say, oh, Shia, Iraqi, so for sure, so you are proxy of Iran. But there is no evidence to suggest that. I'm not expert in that. Scott Horton said that, and I really trust Scott Horton. So that's for one. Like when you say thousands of American soldiers, they died in Iraq. Actually, America was helping Iran because Saddam Hussein was fighting against Iran, right? Like for 8 years, they were fighting Iran and Iraq. And then getting rid of the Saddam Hussein actually was a one favor to Islamic Republic. I don't see what is the reason that Iran had to do that. But anyway, I'm not explaining that. It is Scott Horton said that in his book. It is false. For one. For two, he's saying like they targeted his house through the window. So what? You targeted you are killing innocent children every single day in Gaza. So what about that? How about that? Like he's acting like, oh, his life is so precious. Like if somebody targets him, that's the end of the world. It shows like how they're evil. Bro, every single day you are killing women and children. Just I will leave it that. And then the last thing he was saying was like, yeah, I agree. Anybody who burn America's flag should be deported or should be fined, should be jailed. It is, I'm super nationalist and I'm very right winger. So I think there should be consequence. If you come to America, you should respect it. You can criticize it, but burning the America means you are against every value America is offering. So why are you here? So you have to be deported in the first place. So I agree with that part. So anybody who burn America's flag should be deported or should be fined or jailed. America, you're all in or out. That's it. But the fact, like, when you can burn America's flag and nobody says anything to you, but the moment that you burn America's flag next to the Israeli flag, that everybody start to remember that they are patriot and they care about the American's flag. So when, for example, in George Floyd riots, they were not burning Israeli flag, they were only burning America's flag. And I saw that even right winger, I was so furious. I said, why are you guys letting them to do that? They said, oh, this is America, is a free country. It's so free that you can even burn the flag that you are a resident of. But then when right now it is happening next to Israeli flag, all of those people remember, oh, I'm American, I have to stand up for my flag. So where had you been all this time that, oh, it is free country, we let anybody burn even the flag that they are in, right? So it doesn't, it sounds shady to me. Anyway, continue. So it's, I lost the count of the number of the lies that he has been saying, but let's keep going. Let's see. I'm pretty sure there are even more.
Building atomic bombs and intercontinental ballistic missiles. That's their plan to reach America. So you want these mad ayatollahs to have that power? Of course not. They're anti-American. They're anti-Israel. And the guys who protest, and many of them are paid and organized by foreign NGOs, bad people. They're out against America. They hate Israel because they see Israel as part of America. And in many ways, they're right.
I'm just trying to figure it out too, because even in New York City, right? What's going on?
Yeah.
He's an anti-Semitic guy.
Yeah.
The highest, I think the highest population of Jews in New York City. How's that even possible?
Well, it's possible because a lot of people have been taken in by this nonsense. I mean, what, you want to defund the police? You want to have people go into stores and rob them and be free? You think that really creates a good society? You want to crush all enterprise? You want to tax people to death? I mean, that's a one-term.
I mean, Biden was pro all of those shit, but you didn't say anything about the Biden. You see how much of a rat he is. He stick himself Israel next to America whenever he wants to make Americans support his genocide. So he has to say, oh, it's not about us, it's about you. But whenever it is not aligned together, they say, oh, shut up, you go your way, we go our way because we are independent. Whenever we have conflict of interest, they say, you do your thing, we do our thing, you are not our boss. Whenever they need you, they say, oh, we are aligned together forever, for history. Even America was mentioned in the Bible 3,500 years ago. You are our greatest ally, blah, 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 blah. But whenever it is something that they don't like it, they immediately try to stay away. And one of them is Biden had all those crazy ass policies that Zoran Mamdani has. But at that time, when they were asking, he didn't say anything negative because he needed Biden's support, so he had to be shush quiet. But now he's saying, so what I'm saying, when Trump is gone, when Democrats come to the power, again, I mean, I think he's gonna be here till be Prime Minister of Israel till Armageddon. But in that case, you would see now he would say trash talk against Republicans and stick to the Democrats. So not only he's not loyal to America, he's not even loyal to a party. Continue. Let's continue.
Effort, but sometimes you have to get mugged by reality to understand how stupid that is. So that's silly. But sometimes folly overtakes human affairs for a while, but not for long because reality steps in. So I'm obviously not happy with it, but I'm less concerned with it because I think if we can speak the truth to the young people of America, they wise up pretty quickly.
Is the war with Iran, is it over now? After President Trump did authorize the strike and they destroyed the nuclear program?
Well, it certainly helped, but I'll tell you what happened. We were like a person with 2 lumps of cancer. Okay, that threatened our life. The first one was a nuclear cancer. Would have taken them within a year. They would have had atomic bombs, which they openly declared in the Tyrants of Tehran. They said we're going to destroy Israel, the Jewish state. The other threat that we had, another lump of cancer, was these ballistic missiles. Now you got to understand, this is like a bus. So with a ton of TNT, explosives, comes down at Mach 8, and boom, just destroys everything inside. Israel is the size of New Jersey. Okay, so it's bigger than Rhode Island, but that's about it. It's the size of New Jersey. Now imagine that you would have 20,000 of these ballistic missiles, these one-ton bombs.
Exactly. If you keep saying that we are size of the New Jersey, please don't even compare your size with our states. We don't want to have anything with you, right? Even when it comes to the size comparison. But when you're saying, oh, we are the size of New Jersey, you actually are not doing any favor to your argument. Actually, you are doing it worse. So if you are the size of the New Jersey, you shouldn't act like you are as big as the size of the Russia or China or United States or Canada. So you have to behave like a small country. You are acting like a tough country with a 100 million population and very big size, large, like Russia. But in fact, like your size is small. So if you are a small, behave like a small country. If you have very low population, behave like low population. Like he thinks, oh, because I'm a small, so when I do tough things in the region, nobody should retaliate because I'm a small country. Exactly. Don't do something that people would cause the damage to your small, tiny country. And fake.
On New Jersey. So you either get destroyed by atomic bombs or by thousands and thousands of these deadly ballistic
So you
missiles.
think they're still a threat and they want to?
Well, we had to act.
Yeah.
Why do we have to act? Because if you don't remove the cancer, you're going to be dead. Now, if you remove it, as we did, it might come back. That happens in cancer too. But if you don't remove it, you're not going to be there. So we had to act. We did act, and just with incredibly brave soldiers.
But is there a chance of peace with this current regime?
Not with the regime, but with the Iranian people. And I think they've had enough. 80% of them want to throw these theological thugs out. They're just intimidated by secret police that has that just shoots them. But I think that there's a chance that the Iranian people will actually rise up, because everybody talks about regime change and they envision the American army and the Israeli the IDF forces invading Iran, boots on the ground, and all that other nonsense that people spewed forth. No, we took action to remove those two life-threatening threats, the nuclear threat and the ballistic missile threat, and we removed it. We pushed it away for many years. But ultimately, it's up to the people of Iran to rise up against their tormentors, and I think there's a possibility it will happen. And then we can have peace. We had peace with Iran before that. Before the Ayatollahs took over, in 1979, we had direct flights between Tel Aviv and Iran. We're two ancient peoples. We had a great partnership over many years. We have a common history together, and it's sort of interrupted by this thuggery. But when this regime goes down, you're going to see peace between us like you never believed it.
That'd be nice, because I think one thing Americans don't want to see is everyone has post-traumatic stress from trying to do regime change in Iraq and the past Middle Eastern wars.
Why do it? Yeah, that doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It has to come from within the people, and the people are they're great people. The Iranian people are great people. I sometimes do these podcasts with them. It's not a podcast. I mean, I do a video. Okay, so 3-4 minutes. I tell them that we would happily cooperate with them, solve their water crisis. Israel is the best water management in the world. We could give it. They don't have water in Iran, even though they have. They don't have electricity, even though they swim in oil. Because it's so corrupt and so badly managed. So I give these podcasts. You know what I say? Millions and millions and millions of views. Now, the first time they showed me this, I said, no, it can't be. I said, no, Prime Minister, look. I mean, you got 15 million views. I mean, the whole population of Iran is
They're watching, right?
90 million. So I said, oh well, that's amazing. You know what the amazing thing is? They have names. The people identify themselves. So you understand, in a tyranny like this, if people speak out, they really want. You know what they want? Freedom. They want their freedom. They have, they have this slogan. Well, it's women, freedom. The women want to be free. The men want to be free. And Israel wants them to be free. And I think America wants them to be free. But it's up to them. Ultimately, it's up to them. And I think they're getting closer and closer to the day when this horrific regime disappears. That'll be good for America. So it's not conquest. It's not American boots on the ground. For God's sake, everybody said World War III. Remember, if the president enters, he got these experts, paid experts, silly experts. America, World War III. It's war.
By paid experts, like those people who said we are going to go to the World War III, he meant like people like David Smith and also Tucker Carlson. And paid means Qatari's money, right? The funny part is, the irony of it is, he has the court due, right? Like he has to go to the court because of the corruption from Qataris. Like they are saying you got money from Qatar. So the person who got paid by Qatars right now, he is going to the court for his corruption. Now he is accusing other people to be Qataris. I said, anyway, indirectly he said that, right? The thing that he's saying, yes, they are trying so much because they don't have enough soldiers to put the boots on the Iran soldiers and succeed. So they needed to make sure people of Iran rise against the regime, so they finish the job for them. So they weaken the regime and people rise against it. That's true that so many people of Iran, they like Israel, but they are mostly monarchists. Those people who want Reza Pahlavi, son of the previous Shah, which I was big fan of the Shah, Mohammad Reza Shah, but I'm not big fan of his son, and I'm not even big fan of his father. I don't like two Rezas. Reza Shah means the grandfather, and Mohammad Reza, I like him, the son, and then the son, like the previous Shah, and then his son, which is Reza Pahlavi, this one. So I don't like these two, grandfather and grandkid. I don't like what they are doing, what they have been doing. Like he's there, the Reza Pahlavi. But anyway, so his fans, they are fan of Israel, and always they give the good feedback to his posts. And also Israel started to have so many accounts to speak only Persian to provoke people to uprise against the regime. So that part is true. Like there are many people monarchists, and they are fan of the I'm not fan of Islamic Republic because even though I'm Shia, religious Shia, I'm very big fan of West. I'm fan of America. I'm a nationalist America, and I don't like the way that some of the policies was like I don't like they burn America's flag. I just don't like, and I'm proud to be American. So about that case, I'm totally against Iran. So I agree with him. But the part like he's talking is like the biggest problem Iran has with the West is the Gaza. And again, I'm not saying because they care about people in Gaza, maybe they don't, maybe they do, whatever. I'm not explaining that. But I'm saying just because you are against them and you are vilifying them doesn't make you are a good guy in the conflict with Gaza. You know what I'm saying? So, because in that case, either Adolf was a good guy or Stalin. Because if he's the bad guy, if communism is the bad, so the other one is good. If this is the bad, so Stalin is the good. So just because you have the bad enemy doesn't make you a good guy. But yeah, he's right. He is doing his best to make sure people revolt against the people. But again, I believe in we the people. Whatever people of Iran decide, I support that. Even though if it is the bad decision. Because I'm American, I believe in constitution, it starts with we the people. So the people are owner of that land, not the government. So whatever happens to people of Iran, I wish them best. I'm Aryan. I love the Aryan people all around the world to be successful, and I support them. So I just hope they make the good decision and they don't get influenced by any country, not by Russia, China. I mean, as an American, I wish that was a good relationship between Iran and America would be the best. But now, because of people like him, everything is more complicated.
Between China and America, and you'd have to invade Iran and all that nonsense. Hell no. I mean, very brave and persistent pilots. They go in, drop this thing in the bunker, come back. Not a single American casualty. And by the way, not a single Israeli casualty. Our brave pilots flying over the skies of Tehran. Nothing.
How did President Trump let you know about that?
Another lie. Yeah, that's true. That none of the none of those pilots, those jets, none of them they got arrested or captured or they got killed. None of them. Like all the pilots, I guess they are safe. I guess, but so many of those sleeper cells and stuff, like in Iran, they got arrested.
The mission.
You ever hear of a phone call?
So what, he just called you up and said, Prime Minister,
I don't think
we're bringing in the B2s?
I don't think it was an open line, you know. But you know, we have these great conversations. We're very open with each other, and he said it's like a team that has never happened before, and I can categorically vouch that having worked with successive American presidents, I've never seen anything like it. And it's trust, it's affinity, it's understanding that we're fighting for a greater purpose, and that we can do so very intelligently and very differently from the way that is being portrayed in the media. And we just have proof. All these guys, they're sitting there. Yeah, if President Trump is foolish enough to do this, it's going to start World War III. It's going to embroil America in another Vietnam. You heard this stuff? You remember this? This is yesterday. They talked about it with such authority and seeming expertise. That's all nonsense. Yeah. It just turns out to be nonsense, pure, utter nonsense.
So you know what he's saying? He's saying, actually, David Smith gave the best example. I mean, David Smith is like, I'm a big fan of him. He said, just because you were drunk and then you were driving and you got home safe doesn't make your action okay just because nothing happened to you. So you have to call out a reckless action to prevent from not desirable consequence.
And the president had the temerity and the leadership to disavow these so-called experts, to do the right thing, and to do it with great resolution, great clarity, and with great transparency between us. You don't have to tell the Iranians, but we tell each other.
All right, guys, we're going to interrupt really quick. I want to let you guys... Do you have any type of relationship with Kim Jong-un?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Just interesting.
No, the answer is no.
I think you definitely have a tough job, but why do you think you're like so hated worldwide?
Well, a lot of propaganda. First of all, I'm not hated worldwide. I just received this, I just talked to someone, a rabbi, and he says...
by propaganda, he means people watch those children being slaughtered on X, the Twitter.
He just heard from his brother, who was in Europe, okay, and one of the countries of Europe, and he says that he's being flooded. They know he's from Israel. All the people are coming and they say, you did this amazing thing for all of us, okay? The Chancellor of Germany said Israel did the work for all of us, the new Chancellor of Germany, okay? I hear, they had the G7, the president told me they were all going crazy, I mean, in a positive way, because we live...
Not because of the blackmail, not because of the world leaders are blackmailed, they have to do that, not because of that. because he doesn't dare to walk in the streets in the Europe or in America. If he really thinks whole West are cheering him, don't walk between the people, not the politicians, that they can be corrupted.
Celebrated them because those Iranian missiles were geared at Europe too, and ultimately at America with nuclear warheads. So we had the guts to do this, and the propaganda is there. I don't deny it, but people also have, sometimes the truth beckons. And what Israel did with President Trump is safeguard free societies from a menace. I mean, this Iranian regime hangs gays from cranes, shoots women on the sidewalk for not covering their hair, oppresses their people, spreads terrorism worldwide, kills Americans wholesale, tries to murder the American president, the former Secretary of State, the former National Security Advisor. So people's heads, if people are turned that way, the question you have to ask is not why do they hate me or President Trump, is why don't they see reality? Why don't they see what's good for them? And the answer is most of them do if you tell them the facts. But how do you tell them the facts over TikTok? You guys are there. You tell me. What's the suggestion? You got any ideas for me?
I don't think it's the Iran thing. The main thing I just see is if I don't think people like if civilians are getting injured or killed.
We don't want it either.
Yeah, I think the other issue too is you see there's a lot more Palestinian protests. You don't see very many Israeli protests. So you're going to see that on TikTok.
It's organized, it's systemic, but it does make it true. I mean, so what? You have it. But what are they protesting for? I mean, look, most of the Arab world has made peace with Israel. We've had 4 historic peace accords. People said you can never have peace because the Palestinians, you first have to solve the Palestinian issue. Well, the Palestinians have been fighting this for 100 years before there was even a state of Israel. And they're not fighting for a state. They don't want a state next to Israel. They want a state instead of Israel. And they teach their children that the greatest...
Okay. There are some extremists in Palestine that maybe they say there should be no Jewish states. Yeah, I understand that part is true. But also there are so many extremists in his cabinet, in his team, that are saying there should be no Gaza, no Palestinian, it's all ours, greater Israel. So why doesn't he point out to them? So he points out 1 or 2 extremists in Iran who give the fatwa, which nobody cares about them. And 1 or 2 extremists in Gaza, they say something stupid, like we have to eradicate Jews, like all evil. I totally understand, right? So these are wrong. But why don't you point out those people? Randy, fine. He's even American congressman in the Florida, in I don't know which district. He said, "Oh, we shouldn't nuke Gaza." Why? Because we have hostages. But after the hostages are gone, we're going to nuke them. If I'm not mistaken, fact check me on that. But I saw that on Twitter. And he said, why? Because they said, what about the children? He said, war is messy. Bro, like just today I saw his post. He says, oh yeah, you're going to be starved until all the hostages are back. Bro, those people didn't take your people as hostages. Those people are innocent. They haven't done anything. Most of them, they even didn't vote for Hamas in 2005 because they were below 18 to even be eligible to vote. But anyway, what I'm saying right now, it is like he's not pointing out all those Ben Gavir and like one of those people, finance minister or something like that. Like he was saying, we have to evacuate, we have to ethnically cleanse the Gaza. He literally said that, the one that Piers Morgan always repeat his quote. So why don't you talk about those extremists? I'm saying see the both sides. I'm not taking any both sides. I'm only taking America's sides. I'm Team America. Or whatever benefits America. But as a commentator, I have to be fair. Like say the both sides. Say, hey, there are extremists both sides. We have to come in the middle. We are all humans, But he doesn't say that. And if you say that, you're going to be called anti-Semite.
The duty is to murder as many Jews as they want. The so-called moderates, the other branch, not Hamas, the moderates that are described as such, they pay for slay. The more Jews you kill, the more they pay the murderers. I mean, that's a death.
Which is crazy. Yeah, some of the anti-Semitism I see is pretty nuts.
Yeah, well,
I'll take an American Jew, and it's hard to identify as that.
I understand,
You don't own it.
but I think we just changed history. I see American Jews are very proud now. Jews around the world are very proud because we, these guys were out to murder us and do another Holocaust. The Holocaust, the Nazis murdered 6 million Jews. There are now 7 million Jews, close to 8 million Jews in Israel. They want to murder all of us, and they say so. And all of a sudden, unlike the Holocaust 80 years ago, we were completely defenseless, and they butchered us. Now we're not defenseless, but we are targeting them. And even though we have to fight.
Now you are not defenseless, thanks to Jeffrey Epstein and blackmail operation.
The vilification that is happening in America too, ultimately, people join winners. That's what happens. People join winners, and we stand up strong.
No. Yeah, maybe people join winners, but good people, decent people with integrity, with dignity, they won't join genociders.
And we're proud. And American Jews and the friends of Israel who are not Jews stand proud with us too. And I wouldn't be intimidated by these protesters. I think I don't think they know what they're talking about. They're just totally ignorant.
What would you say, you're the longest standing prime minister in Israel's history. What would you say is your greatest accomplishment, your biggest regret?
My greatest accomplishment is what I set out to do 40 years ago, right after the rise of the anti-American from getting an end. I think one of the achievements that we have is we push back this great danger, again, with full partnership with President Trump and the United States of America. I'm very proud of that. And the other thing I did was I I liberated the Israeli economy. It was a semi-socialist economy of the kind that this candidate for New York. It's not a good idea, you know. Like we had a very low GDP per capita, and we weren't a first world nation. Okay, everything was tied. You know, you had bureaucrats, controlling everything, depriving initiative, enterprise, and so on. And I, as prime minister and for some time as finance minister, I just liberated the economy. I just did all these reforms that allowed people to set up their own business. You have a business right now?
Mm-hmm.
Are you regulated?
Yes.
You are? Why are you regulated? You're regulated by what? You should have the freedom to say whatever you want, to talk whatever you want. I didn't realize there's regulation on podcasts. Is that right?
Not anymore. Actually, since President Trump won, we've noticed all the social medias have been a lot more pro-free speech.
Yeah, all right. So I'm for free markets, you know, the marketplace of goods, services, ideas. You have to have the freedom to have your ideas. This is what we have in Israel. Why do we have it? In abundance. But that's fine. That's what I like. I like competition.
Well, two things. One of them is if you liberated your economies and free market, free everything, and now your GDP is so high, why do you need to get $4 billion every year as a grant, as a pocket money from us? If you liberated your economic and everything is good, everything is fine, it's one of your biggest achievements, then why are we still paying for you? Like, why are we paying for aiding for your what was that, the Iron Dome, all the defense system, missiles, and also just $4 billion for you to waste it? So if you liberate it. But that part is true though, like it's, you have to tell the truth, you have to be fair. Like he helped the economy in Israel. That socialist economy, man, is disaster.
I like initiative. I like freedom. I like freedom because I think living without freedom is not worth it. And think of, you know, young people are watching me. I think that every move that you make, every decision you'd like to make is made by others. You remember? That's when you're little kids, right? Mm-hmm. You have the nanny state. You have the nanny that tells you what you can do, what you can't do. Not a good idea, right? That's not the kind of life you want. That's not the kind of life we have in Israel. It's a robust, free, pluralistic society compared to the darkness of Iran, the darkness of Hamas. Gays for Gaza, chickens for KFC, women for the women of Gaza. God almighty. I mean,
gays for Gaza.
Morality for IDF.
Crazy.
No, but women for Gaza is crazy too, because you know what the women in Gaza are? They're property. They're nothing. They have no rights. They're completely subjugated. And God forbid if they're executed anytime they commit a so-called offense. I mean, it's absurd. So young people who say they're progressives, people who talk about liberty, and they join with these killers and they buy these lies, and they say, you know, good is bad and bad is good. You know what they say in the Bible? Have they no eyes to see? Have no ears to hear? You know, and they be that blind? And the answer is yeah, for a while, but I guess I'll wise up.
The second part of the question, what would you say is your biggest regret?
Well, my biggest regret is that that my wife and my two both left flag. Mm-hmm. Part of the journey, it's very painful. I was 46, tons of money in there with Sarah. And we sort of neglected. I became prime minister again, and since then, I don't know, I won 5 elections again. A Democrat, small d. I believe that the people have to choose who leads them, no one else. Okay, so second time I'm elected, Sarah told me, miss, and lunch. Yeah, tried sometime, okay?
It's refreshing.
An Oxford graduate, but he was a source of the Bible, which is always relevant. It's a very good book, by the way. I strongly recommend it. I don't know if people still read it, but it's a great book. So up to the age of 12, I was teaching him. I'll give them like a great visit, wonderful visit, okay? And then we have dinner, okay? It's dinner. I like Burger King more.
What's your go-to at McDonald's?
No, I'll take Burger King. We did the double,
Whopper?
I haven't Burger King.
Burger King kind of sucks.
Yeah.
No,
the BK Lounge can hit.
I disagree completely.
I cannot care. Like he tries to humanize himself. Like I care about the burger as well. Like they're disagreeing on is Burger King better, whether Burger King is better or McDonald's. And he's saying, "Oh no, oh I love this, I love that." Like he say, "Oh, I'm human like you." You are no human. Like if you think you're gonna humanize yourself by debating which burger is better, boy, you're too idiot.
Burger King over McDonald's?
That's your worst take.
Absolutely.
That's a crazy take.
No, that was fine. I mean, I like Burger King. The answer is yes. And we'd go and have Burger King. And guess what happened? How
doing the same thing with him? Yeah, McDonald's. Yeah.
Chocolate. And he says, what do we have in common? Well, we like to spend time with each other.
Yeah, you guys seem
added. And I don't disclaim that he had great talents, but we have a weak person. I don't think that at all. But I don't know essential. Absolutely essential. And he viewed it differently. He thought that, through accommodation, that he would stop them. And I don't think he did. I mean, he made a deal that basically paved the way with gold to a nuclear arsenal. So we disagreed. And it wasn't easy for me to make a decision that I made in 2015. That's 10 years ago. And I went to the U.S. Congress, joint session of Congress.
He's talking about Obama.
To speak out against this deal that...
Because I cannot care less about his personal life. He tried to humanize himself. So now he's saying this disagreement he had with Obama regard to JCPOA, the nuclear deal with Iran.
A sitting president was advancing. And that's not something that you do lightheartedly. I did it because I thought the fate of my country was at stake. I thought we could be annihilated by the Iranians with a nuclear deal would essentially pave their way to nuclear weapons. So I had to do it. And in politics, you often compromise.
I think that there's still a lot of gray area, like with your average American, on what actually happened on October 7th, how it happened, why the response took so long.
Well, what happened was that at 6:29 in the morning, several thousand of these Hamas murderers crossed the fence from Gaza into the neighboring communities and butchered everything in sight. And the biggest butchery took place in one kibbutz that I visited recently. And it's horrible. I mean, they went into the houses, they shot the children, they shot the babies, shot the families, old people, Holocaust survivors, you name it. And the other thing that they did was there was a music festival that lasted through the night in the open areas, okay, near Gaza. Young people, came to have a music festival in nature. And these killers came there and they just sprayed the whole place. They murdered these young women and young men. And there were acts of heroism there that were amazing. Some of the people saved people, came back to save people. They themselves were mowed down. But there was acts of carnage that were so cruel that it's impossible to imagine, but also acts of courage that are amazing. So that's what you had there. That's how it started.
Yeah.
And then, how long did it take to get in there? We're still investigating why it took so long. Why don't we just have attack helicopters right there? We have a pretty good idea now, but that's got to be investigated fully.
What's your response to people that say it could have been prevented?
I agree with them. Completely. And it was just horrible. And the other thing that happened was they took 255 people hostage. I mean, we're talking about grandmothers and their grandchildren. We're talking about people they killed.
I don't want to be conspiracy theory. I don't want to go there. I'm just saying, for 6 months, all these liberal Jews, all those liberal Israelis, leftist Israelis, they were protesting on the street against him and his cabinet. For 6 months, every single day. And guess what? When Hamas attacks on October 7, the festival, he's talking about the nature festival, and all those towns that was in the border with the Gaza, that they went in and started to take the hostages and then kill them. All of them, because that neighborhood was a neighborhood of leftist Israelis. So those people who were against Netanyahu. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, so if those people who said we have to have peace with Gaza and then you are dictator or a fascist, Netanyahu, you have to get off the power, and immediately they get killed by people in Gaza, by Hamas, then two things gonna happen. One stone, two birds. Both the protests gonna be gonna shut down because now we have bigger problem to take care of. And two, those people who were saying, oh, we can't have two-state solutions with them because they were mostly they were leftist Israelis that they were against Netanyahu's cabinet. So those people who were saying we have to have peace with them, what you are doing is wrong, blah, 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 by being a slaughter or some of their relatives getting a slaughter on that day, because that was the neighborhood for the leftist Israelis. They might change their mind to say, oh, maybe you were right, maybe we shouldn't have peace with them. So one of the best way to change their mind is to let them get attacked so they come to your hug from them and they say, oh yeah, you were right, just get my hostages, get those hostages back, I give you all the power. So not only the protests gonna shut down, but even the opinions of the people, leftist Israelis who are pro-peace, gonna be shifted to your favors. I'm just saying that's a consequence of Abbey. Maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's a shekel-cidence.
Took their bodies so they can, they can trade these bodies. I mean, they took young girls and young men, and it's horrible. And on the first day, senior defense hostages, and 147 of them alive, and the rest are recovered bodies. The brave soldiers not alive, and all of them will children.
Too. So what's your message to why? Because a lot of Americans don't think we should support Israel at all.
That means you don't support America, because for the terrorists, you know what the terrorists are fighting us? Because they say we're America and America is Israel. We have the same free societies, the same free values. They want to drive us back to the dark ages of this tyranny. And Americans who say that, I think.
Again, another lie. I don't know how many lies I have been counting. But the thing is that they are saying we hate Israel, we hate America because America is Israel and Israel is America. They only say because Israel is killing children and America is supporting that and vetoing that. Whenever it goes to United Nations and all the countries that are calling emergency to stop the war and also vote for the two-state solution, peaceful resolution, or all those stuff, the only country in the world that vetoes that is United States. So they are saying you are contributing to this genocide. That's why they hate America. But just to give you one side fact that you're going to remember forever, before the state of Israel, when they were asking Arab people which country do you prefer, like I think around the Cold War, you want Soviet Union to be global dominant power or United States, and all the Arab and Muslim, they were saying United States because United States for them was symbol of bravery and freedom, and they preferred that. They said it's more aligned with our religious belief and our culture, freedom and bravery. So all the Muslims, Arab Muslims especially, they were fan of America. But after the Israel, what happened to them by Israel and America supporting them and pausing anybody else trying to help and intervene to them with vetoing them in United Nations, made them change their mind. So it is not like they, since day one, they hate it, because people, Muslims love America way before even Israel existed.
Basically say, okay, so you support those who chant death to America, those who want to eliminate America. That's crazy. Oh boy, this is
Nice to
this is
wrap up.
service.
Yeah.
This is service. Yeah, it's
That's what we did on the Full Send Pod.
Thanks.
You were a soldier yourself, right? How?
Yeah, the training is very hard, but very soon, I mean, like, well, we did crazy things, and some of them were, well, you know, we had the first hijackings of Israeli planes from Lebanon, actually, from PLO, that came from what you would call a disadvantaged home. He was a brilliant student. Was put into a great school.
He's trying to again humanize himself to say, "Oh, when I was soldiers, I was a soldier, I was saving people's lives. I'm human."
He was a mathematician and an athlete, and we became very close friends. And after a certain operation, he died in my arms. You know, it's not an easy thing when you know. And said, unless you and ministers will fill the plane with these put the Red Cross at a distance on the plane, and they're looking. Everything's ready to go, and then they're sitting on a plane. This, and he comes in, and I see his pistol. You know, but don't do that. Young soldiers that fell. For me, it's not merely just the loss of these 5 souls. There's a phrase in the Bible: "They shall rise like lions." Okay, that's what they say of the people of the ancient Israelites. They shall rise like lions. So I call it rising lion, rising lion. And boy, our soldiers fought like lions. I mean, they are very brave, very dedicated, and very noble.
Like lions. Lions. We provided everything: artillery, like defense system, anti-missile system, everything. Even the F-35 they have is from us. So they call it what lion? Like rats in the lion's wrap or something like that, because other than that, that was nothing. Because 5 days after the war, you saw that Iran was hitting you back very harder than you expected. Immediately you said to America, please save my ass. I mean, man, if you're a lion, lions don't need other people, other animals to help them. They do it by themselves. Like, if you are a lion, you should be independent. If you are not, if you are dependent, then you're a rat. Rats lives in the sewer, lives in the houses, like wait for you, for your trash to eat. Like they cannot survive by themselves. They need somebody to leave some of the waste so they could eat off the others people's waste, right? So if you are reliant, prove that by being fully independent and not getting any money from us, not $4 billion. Lions don't get $4 billion per year. Lions don't ask for help every time everything gets tough for them. Lions don't talk the talk but not walk the walk, not walk back it off. These are all descriptions of rats. And what you are doing is just like a rat. If you're a lion, no $4 billion from us, no $500 million for helping your the missile system. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene opposed that, but only she got 6 votes, and even AOC didn't vote to block the aid to Israel, and that's something to note for future. And that's it. Like I'm saying, like he's acting like he's a lion, but everything you are doing is because you have our back. I mean, lions are not the animals that they roar so hard and so loud, but they are, for example, relying on gorilla or tiger to back them off. You know what I'm saying? Like what the F type of lion are you that you need other support to stay king of the jungle? You are not. You're a rat.
Thing they want is to kill civilians. That's the last thing they want, and they take efforts that no other army has done on this thing. But the one thing they want to do is assure the future of our people. You know, we haven't traveled. You know how old the Jewish people is? America is 250 years old next year, right? Right? Well, the Jewish people are 3,500 years old, all right? Remember Moses parting the Red Sea? You know, that's about 3,500 years ago. So we have a great history of great tragedy and great triumph. And we're not going to let it end by the mad Ayatollahs there who want to rain death on both of us. And we're not going to be influenced by the people who are taken under their sway and support this cult of death. America stands for life. Israel stands for life. America stands for liberty. Israel stands for liberty. But President Trump and I believe in a doctrine that says
America stands for life, Israel stands for occupation and genocide.
Simply this: peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes the peace. And we've just demonstrated a lot of strength, and that's going to lead to a broadening of the peace in the Middle East and beyond. It's a great thing.
How would you ideally like to see it end in a perfect scenario?
Well, I'd like to see the people of Iran take charge of their own destiny. But in any case, I'd like to make sure that Iran never acquires.
He wants the revolution so bad.
Nuclear weapons, and I think we've done a hell of a lot for that purpose. And I'd like to see peace with the remaining neighbors. We made peace. I made peace with President Trump. I made peace with 4 Arab states in a month, And I'd like to see that peace expand to all our Arab neighbors. It's possible because the actions that we did in breaking the Iranian axis changed the situation in quite a few of the countries around us. I think there are opportunities for peace there, and I intend to seize them.
We hope so for sure.
Yeah, I hope you and President Trump can make peace in the Middle East. We're all praying for it.
We already have, and I'm sure we can again. And look, if your audience wants to have a good time,
Go to Tel Aviv?
yeah, you can vouch for
Is that what
it.
you're going to say?
Isn't Tel Aviv
Oh,
great?
yeah, Tel Aviv's lit.
Yeah, it's fun.
Tel Aviv's on fire. I haven't been in the summer. We went in February last time. So we were supposed to come 2 weeks ago.
But 2 days before the bombing, right?
2 days before the bombing.
You can come back now.
Yeah.
You know what's happening in Tel Aviv? You know what's happening in the Israeli stock market?
What?
You know what a vertical wall is? That's
going
how
up.
stock is going up. You know why? Because people saw great technology during the war. Because people are coming to invest in Israel because smart money moves very quickly. It's like the hottest economy right now. Well, the American economy is giving a good competition, but Israel right now is shooting up.
You see what a rat he is? He's saying America's economy is giving good competition. Bro, you don't exist without our help. You're competing with somebody like, imagine you're in vegetarian life, whether they call it, like you have the system to, without the system you will die, right? Vegetation life or something. You are on that, and still you're bragging about that. Oh, me and the doctor who is saving my life, we are, let's see who is the better in living. Bro, you cannot survive without our help. So you are saying America is giving good competition while your existence rely, your economy, your army, your people, everything relies on us. Just show like how ungrateful these people are. While they hold their existence, like for example, it's like I borrow money from you, I keep borrowing money from you, and then I say, oh, you're rich, but I'm almost getting there. By who? By getting money from me. I mean, that's a parody. It's not even real. Like, he knows that Israel cannot survive 1 month without America. Economy wise, military wise, anything, you just name it. But still he is trying to basically beat the country that is saving it. It's unbelievable.
Because people realize that we have a great free market economy, great technology, great innovation, great entrepreneurs, and the whole place is changing. Did you see Tel Aviv as a village or as a
Similar to Miami, I
a
thought.
village? No, it's
Yeah, that's what it was a few decades ago.
Really?
Like I was very dilapidated. You say it's like Miami.
Yeah,
Isn't Miami on fire right now?
Yeah, Miami's-
well,
yeah.
so Tel Aviv's on fire. That's
Yeah,
why
really
it's
want to come
so-
again. I want to
Are
come
you
in
coming?
We'll come in August.
Good.
Yeah.
The beaches are good.
Yeah.
And nightlife is good.
Yeah, we
And the
tested
people
the
are
nightlife.
good.
We had a good time.
Yeah, we tested the
And-
nightlife.
and
No, you
just-
tested- well, I hear about it, but
Yeah, we'll handle that
Yeah.
for you. We'll make sure everything's
well,
good.
invite Sarah and me. We'll come.
Awesome.
And I really mean it. I'm really inviting all your friends to come see the truth, and you'll be mesmerized and you'll be captivated, and you'll then say,
By truth, you know what it means. IDF was taking journalists only to those areas that would be aligned with their narrative, with their propaganda. So whenever journalists say, yeah, I want to check out other sides of this area, and they say, no, you cannot go there. Because if they went there, it would ruin everything that they built, all the false narrative they built. So they only show those, you can only take picture of this area, you can only go to that room, to this house, to this street, to just show, like they set up an environment to say, you see, we were telling you the truth, everything that we said, you are seeing with your eyes. But they say, yeah, I want to see beyond that. I want to see, no, you cannot go there, get out. And then a few months ago, a couple of politicians, European politicians, they were in Gaza because they just took another side to see what's going on over there. Israeli soldier, IDF, they were shooting them, not at them directly, but to scaring them to come back. So when he says, let me show you the truth, basically, let me show you the truth. Truth is just everything that I'm putting spotlights on.
how is it that we can believe this nonsense? It's like, who pulled the wool over our eyes, and how do we, tear that away? It's a different place, a different people, a different country. It's a great place.
It is. We had a great time there.
And guess what? We love America.
Yeah.
So we love Americans too. So come over.
Well, we appreciate
Of course you do. Of course you do. I would love any country would give me $4 billion per year without any return. and build my Iron Dome military system, F-35, give me F-35, all the artillery, everything, give it to me, hold my stock market, all my existence relies on that country. And then every time I F around, before I find out, they come and block it and then help us. Like every time that Israel is getting attacked back, you're like getting retaliated, America intervene. So I can mess with every country around and nobody can say anything because America is my back. Of course you would love America. Yeah, I would love any country who would give me the free pass on anything without questioning, without challenging it. So like he thinks like by saying, "Oh, we love America," they are doing message use that's a virus in their mind. Chosen people, like they see I'm chosen just because I said I love you. That's the best compliment you could get. So now you have to serve me for eternity.
You giving us your time. I know you probably had an insanely busy day.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff more important than sitting down with two dummies here, but we appreciate it.
No. We had good conversations here, and we
The
had
only
good
thing they said the truth is that 2 dummies. Actually, no. Again, that was wrong. 3 dummies. No, 2 dummies and 1 evil.
conversations in the White House.
Awesome.
All right, Prime Minister, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Why can't you stay organised?
I've experienced this myself, and it's called chronic impulse.
All right. Okay. I guess that's the end of it. Hope you enjoyed it. It was just a piece of propaganda. And I tried to debunk all those lies. And yeah, there were a couple of stuff that he says is true, but doesn't change the fact like he's the very bad person. Very. Like that's the nicest thing I can say. And I think Netbox already they saw that they were getting the pushback. So they started to say, well, yeah, let other people come up. And then I think Hassan Parker, whatever his name is, and Nick Fuentes and Myron and all those people, they went to his podcast and they started to say, but they didn't give the enough pushback. I don't know why, but yeah, I mean, they wanted to do the damage control because they saw that. I mean, they were told, hey, you have to have the podcast with that guy, and they couldn't say no to that person, whoever it was. And they couldn't say no, so they had to have that podcast, but they knew that they're gonna lose their audience. So in order to control everything, at the same time that they did the podcast, also they said that, oh my god, you were right, we did something wrong. But no, like to act like you had to come and say, yeah, we were forced to do that, maybe something, but to act like, oh, now that you are saying, I realize that, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that. That's something that I don't accept that. Like always, as above, so below.